What is up, my YouTube nerds? It's your coding bro Mondo Man Codes here, bringing you another tutorial into our Intro to Programming with C++ series. In this video, we'll be talking about functions, how you can use them within your program. Let's begin by opening up Visual Studio. Alright, create a new project, console app, or right here if it's not in your recent project templates. Hit next. I'll keep it as a default, V8. For those of you that are just starting out and learning how to program, a function is a set of statements that take in a specific input and performs a specific computation, which then outputs the result of said computation. And whenever you're starting out on C++ or any other programming language, you'll always have a main function, and that's what your compiler or computer be more clear what your computer would read first. And that's just pretty much the function that your computer would run through, make sure that's everything running correctly. So as always, using namespace standard, get rid of this so you don't have to write it every single time. Now let's just say programming video. Great. We would generally use functions to cut down on the same tasks in our code. For example, let's say we are making a program that needs to be adding numbers regularly, so like a calculator app, calculator program. Instead of writing the same code, to add two variables together like a plus b, we can call the function instead, which would cut down on our entire program itself. As always, I'd like to compare things. So if you have watched my if statement video or while loop or if loop, the functions pretty much have somewhat of the same structure. You have your header, then you have your body, right? Which for a function, your header will have a return type, which we have many return types, which are integer return types, double, float, string, or character, or double, not double, boolean, right? Then you'll have your function name, and then you'll have your parameters, which are pretty much what you're inputting into your function so that you can actually do some computation within your body statement. Right, so body will have your statement or whatever code you want to run, and then you'll have a return type, or you'll have a return within your body statement. As a very short example, let's make a function that adds two variables together. So let's call int x equals 21, int y equals 4. Right? But generally, what we used to do is just x plus y, right? And if we run that, it should output 25. But what a function allows us to do is we create a function, an int return type. Let's call it add. And so we don't get confused, let's just say int a, int b, right? And then let's create a temporary variable, and we'll just name it t. And t will equal a plus b, right? And then we just need to return t. So instead of x plus y, we just do add x. As I can see, once we typed in add, it tells us, hey, as a return type of an integer, it has two parameters, a and b, so we have to give it two parameters. If we don't give it two parameters, then it'll give us an error. So let's do add x comma y. Save and then run our program. As we can see it, I bet. As we can see, we return 25, right? Some of you might be like, but wait, we're doing a lot more, coding with this, which is somewhat true, because this is just a small program. But let's say we have a program with 1,000 lines, right? And what you're trying to do is just add numbers constantly. So instead of just doing, a plus b, a plus b, a plus b, a plus b, we can just have it call in a function that does it and returns it, cutting down on the actual lines of code that we need to type. And the also fun part about functions is that we can have two running at the same time. Let's do a multiply one. We can do the same exact thing. So int a, int b. We can use the same integer variable t, because they're not talking to one another, so it's not gonna confuse it. So a times b, return t. So in here, we can actually do multiply, right? So our computer will run this, see that it's it wants us to output something. It'll do the add function first. We'll turn that, and then it'll do the multiply with the return variable that we get from the add function. Right? So if this works, which it should, we should get a 50. Yep, and as you can see, we get 50 as the outputted variable. That pretty much wraps up the tutorial on functions. It's pretty straightforward. Just make sure you have the same exact, return type as you have the return. So let's say you had a double T. That'll give you an error because the return type is not a double. Now if you had this as double and your return type was double, that's okay. If you had your parameters as ints and you returned a double, that's still okay. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this content enjoyable or informative. Now this upcoming Monday, I will be doing my very first Intro to Java tutorial. So if you don't mind, go check it out. Give me any feedback you need, or if you have any questions or topics you'd like to discuss, or like me to discuss even further, comment down below, or shoot me an email. This is me signing off, and remember, stay nerdy. Bye guys.